Welcome to a special edition of LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and tonight we review the Oscars. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's just jump right in, and we're going to start with Chris Rock and the hashtag OscarsSoWhite movement, the diversity discussion that took place on Hollywood's biggest stage. I thought Chris Rock did a very good job hosting. I thought he was charismatic, he was funny throughout. He added a lot of small bits and videos that we haven't really seen in some years from the Oscars. Starting with that opening monologue though, it was just fantastic. It was hilarious, it provided so much insight, and it was just witty. It wasn't direct smack the people in the audience face kind of humor. He was direct with what he was trying to say, but it was so smart that you couldn't help but laugh, and if you were white, feel a little bit uncomfortable, but understand the point he was trying to make. However, I wish he could have kept that momentum from the opening dialogue going throughout the entire film, because I think it started to lose steam about midway through the show, and that's unfortunate because it is something that needs to be talked about. Chris Rock is the perfect comedian to do so, but even he couldn't make an entire show about race without making it feel redundant. Saying that, I did love the Angela Bassett piece about, Black History Month honoring Jack Black. And I really enjoyed that they went out, they talked to Black moviegoers about what they watch and what they like to experience in the movies. I thought that was awesome to see that as well. Although, I think they shaded the nominees and these smaller films that do deserve recognition just a bit too much in that piece. But that little video piece also brought pretty much our only mention of any other race. Alejandro G. Iñárritu also mentioned it a little bit in his speech, but I was so disappointed that Chris Rock created a black and white only discussion. And really none of the presenters brought up any sort of other discussion other than Alejandro, and that's just disappointing. It just shows that people only really advocate for their own personal experience. Because the OscarsSoWhite discussion needs to carry on past just black, just white. There are shades in between. There were no Hispanics nominated for the acting categories. There were no Asians. When was the last Asian to get nominated for an acting category? There were no Middle Eastern actors, directors, anything represented. There were no Native Americans. And should we talk about whitewashing roles? Native Americans have had to deal with that for just as long as any other race, and maybe even longer. I mean, they have been done just as much injustice as everybody else. So the fact that it really was boiled down to black and white was super disappointing to me, and I wish we would have really expanded that commentary to all of the minorities and everybody that is being left out of the conversation, being told, we have no seat for you at the biggest award show of your profession. It's just disappointing. We're going to go ahead and continue running through all the non-awards news that came out of the Oscars first, and that goes to the presenters. So they tried this whole thank yous on the scrolling little box at the bottom of the screen. It did nothing. I mean, people still continue to use the majority of their speeches to thank people, and they didn't bring any new interesting speeches to the table. So experiment failed, unfortunately. That would be such a great idea to have that scrolling thank you box if people actually came with interesting, worthwhile speeches. Instead, we got the same old with a few exceptions. My favorite speech was Leonardo DiCaprio. He finally won! But I also think Sam Smith gave a wonderful, heartfelt speech. I do think Alicia Vikander gave a nice speech. Brie Larson was genuinely excited. There were a few great little moments, but overall just kind of the same blase squaze that we've come to know year after year. But hold on, can we also just discuss a couple of random what the hell was that moments? Starting with Miss Stacey Dash. Please sit down. Sit your ass down in the audience, please. Actually, why were you even invited to this show? If we're being real, Chris Rock should have roasted you like he roasted Jada Pinkett about not being given an invitation. Because what have you done in film at all since Clueless? And you popping up talking about there should be no Black History Month, blah, blah, blah. No. It was just so awkward. I didn't feel it. I didn't like it. I wish they had never brought her old dusty self out on that stage. Oh my God. And then we had good old Joe Biden show up. I liked what he had to say, but I literally was like, what? What are you doing here, Joe? But hey, more power to you. I guess when you're the vice president of the United States, you could just show up wherever the hell you please. So, and finally, Sacha Baron Cohen, no. Just no. I don't know what he was doing up there, but I didn't like it. That's all I know. It made me very uncomfortable, everything he was saying, the way he was acting. I know he was trying to make a point with comedy, but before you do, just stop. And then a happy, what was that moment? Just Jacob Tremblay, he was so adorable leading up. If you look at his Twitter, his little selfies and stuff, he was so cute. And then when the droids from Star Wars came up to present an award, he was so excited. I was so happy that they caught his reaction on camera because it was adorable. Of course, we can't talk about the Oscars without talking about some fashions. And there were some really beautiful fashions. I personally think Best Dressed of the Evening goes to Cate Blanchett. I know that this dress is going to divide some people, but that color was just magnificent. And on her, she just looked royal. She looked amazing. And even the flowery dress, just gorgeous from head to toe. Charlize Theron was stunning. When I saw her walk the red carpet, I was just taken back. And then when she got on that stage to present, she just looked so fantastic. I also think that Margot Robbie, she had a much more bombshelly look to her, and she pulled it off. I thought she also looked very, very good. Some of the more classic dresses, like Sofia Vergara and Reese Witherspoon, I thought they also pulled off their dresses very well. As for the guys, for the most part, it was business as usual. I think the big trend I saw was that they went with the black and white tux, but a lot of the guys were mixing like a suede felt looking material with just regular black slacks. Overall, I'm not really a fan of mixing the different materials like that, but I do think Eddie Redmayne pulled it off. I think he pulls off every look he has. I think he's just very debonair, very suave, handsome, and pretty much everything he does, so I think he pulled it off. But I really loved what Kevin Hart did. This is what taking a chance, but not going too crazy, looks like. He just kind of bedazzled his suit there. It suited his personality. It looked great. It's something that I easily could have and maybe even should have hated, but I loved it. It was my favorite look of the night on any of the men. Now, unfortunately, not everyone looked great. We got to turn our attention on over to Miss Olivia Wilde. Woo, that dress. No, ma'am, that was terrible. I mean, just terrible with the little flaps over her boobs. It looked horrid. The only good thing I saw when Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde came onto the red carpet was, thankfully, Jason Sudeikis invested in some proper dress shoes. Not like the Golden Globes where he wore some tennies with his tux. Came right this time. Thank you, Sudeikis. Then we look on over to Miss Amy Poehler. Child, I don't even know what she was wearing, but please send it back. Ship it on back to wherever you got that mess from. Donate it to the Goodwill. I don't care because, whoo, it was bad. Daisy Ridley, you became like America's new it girl with Star Wars. We were all on board until you came to the Oscars looking like a 70-year-old lady. That dress was just wretched. It hung on her body. It was very matronly with the hair, the heel, the whole package just aged her 70 years. And then how about Miss Kate Winslet, looking like she just grabbed a good old trash bag from her cupboard and wrapped it around her body. Some freaking melted vinyl mess. I don't even know what that was she tried to pull off as a dress, but I wish she wouldn't have. And then we have two women who I wouldn't really put on the worst dress list, but I wasn't here for how they looked either. And that's Saoirse Ronan. I don't know why I just wasn't in love with this green dress. It wasn't fitted to her body. It did her no favors. And then when you combine that with her straight out of the shower hair, it just didn't work for me. And Olivia Munn, she looked like a matador with that off-the-shoulder orange ensemble. Just wasn't the worst, but again. But why is it that supermodel Heidi Klum came to the red carpet looking the worst. I mean, it was just terrible. I don't even know what she was thinking. I don't even know how contestants on Project Runway can take her critique seriously after they see her on this Oscars red carpet, because she looked like complete dreckitude. It was just bad, terrible. Oh my gosh, I almost gouged my own eyes out. As for the guys, the only one really worth noting is good old Jared Leto. This is something I so wanted to like, because again, I love when guys kind of step out of the box and try something a little bit different. No, not like this. The suit itself was fine, and it would have been great with a black necktie or even a black bow tie. It would have looked great. Instead, he picked a little flower from his garden and shoved it right where the tie is supposed to be. And when I say little flower, I mean practically a red bush chilling on his neck, child. It was just, I don't even know. And then you scrolled on down to them black and white loafers, straight up house slippers that he wore onto the red carpet and into the biggest night as a previous Oscar winner, no less. But shout out to Good Morning America's Robin Roberts and Michael Strahan. They both looked fantastic, and I thought they did a really great job on the red carpet. Now, on to the meat and potatoes of what we're here to talk about, the actual Oscars. To my surprise, this night was full of upsets, and I loved it, and I didn't love it. So let's go ahead and talk about just the winners in general. We'll get into a few of their acceptance speeches, what they had to say, and all that jazz. So I am so happy that Alicia Vikander won for Best Supporting Actress. My prediction was as much a prediction as it was a hope that she would end up taking home that award. So I was happy that we started off the night on a positive note. Same thing with The Big Short. Right off the bat, I knew, we might be in for a good night. And then Mad Max, as predicted, swept through the technical awards, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to carry the film over into the larger awards, and George Miller didn't win Best Director. Why? That was the upset I was most hoping for, Academy. You failed me. But Alejandro G. Iñárritu gave us our only non-white winner of any of the large categories, so I can't be too mad, and The Revenant was really well directed. Spotlight winning Best Picture was a huge shock to me personally, especially with how the night was unfolding. I thought The Revenant just had it in the bag, but hey, apparently not. I also love that George Miller's wife, Margaret Sixel, who won an Academy Award tonight, just shaded everybody else in that room, dropping the bomb, talking about we were the best reviewed film of the year, we won this, we were that, and I was like, dang, you were laying on that guilt trip quick, ain't you, girl? Because I feel like everybody knew it wasn't going to win Best Picture, unfortunately, and I think she just wanted to remind everybody, hey, you all already awarded us all of this, so shame on you for not giving us Best Picture. Of course, I was shocked, just like everyone else, that Ex Machina won for Best Visual Effects. I did not think that it would, although I think it is very well earned. Those visual effects were so seamless. I would have loved to see Mad Max Fury Road win, or even maybe Star Wars, who I predicted would win, but Ex Machina is very deserving of the award. I was so happy that Bear Story won, and also so stunned that The Stutterer won for live action short. Also, Mark Rylance swooped in after pretty much being stagnant through the rest of the award season and took Best Supporting Actor, much to most of the fanboy community's dismay for poor old Sylvester. I just was sitting there wishing I had stuck to my original guns. If you watch my Golden Globe video, then you know throughout the entire season I was predicting Spotlight for Best Picture and Mark Rylance for Best Supporting Actor. Changed my mind for this and look where it got me. Also, we just need to talk about Lady Gaga because I think she had the best moment of the entire night. That performance was so profound, so impactful. To have all of those sexual abuse survivors, including Lady Gaga herself, up there with those messages on their arm and Gaga's impassioned delivery, it was really breathtaking and it was really moving. By far the show-stopping, most noteworthy moment of the entire night, so kudos Gaga. But what everyone is going to be talking about, the real big news story, Leo, he finally won. Thank you, Oscar community, for getting it right this year. I know that there were some people thinking Michael Fassbender should have won, or this or that, but really, Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, had the best performance of the year. He was fantastic, and I'm so glad that the Academy has finally awarded him. It is years past due for this man. So how could you not be happy? Except now, what are we going to post around Oscar time? We can't post those great Leonardo DiCaprio memes and pictures. So, that is my recap of the Oscars 2016. I had fun live tweeting it. I had fun watching it. I hope you did as well. Let me know, what did you think of the Oscars? Do you think they picked the right winners? Were there some huge snubs? Did the right surprises happen? And what were your most WTF moments of the night? Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!